Welcome to Breaking Down Bergman. I'm David Friend.
I'm Strimban.
And today we're looking at Ingmar Bergman's film Dreams.
Ibland när jag höll på att somna hade jag dig så nära intill mig att jag bara behövde räcka ut handen. Kunde nästan känna din andedräkt mot min kind. Och så vaknade jag och du var inte där. Hade jag kunnat stiga upp och gå och söka dig var du än fanns. Trodde att jag inte kunde leva en minut till. Utan att ha dig i närheten. Men man fortsätter att leva. Timme efter timme. Dag efter dag. Man skrattar till och med. Ibland glömmer jag bort dig. Det är nästan det sorgligaste. Att det finns ögonblick då du är fullkomligt borta ur mig. Om vi åtminstone hade ett barn tillsammans. Vet du vad jag vill?
Nej, det vet jag inte. Jo, det vet jag förresten.
Då jag kunde gå till din hustru och säga: låt mig få låna honom bara ett par veckor på året. Jag ska nöja mig med det. Vi ska få honom tillbaka i oskadat skick.
Ja, det tycker jag du borde göra.
Är det inte ohyggligt? Så ödmjuk jag har blivit. Se bara, jag kryper ju nästan på alla fyra och tigger.
Ingmar Bergman made Dreams coming off a string of box office failures, one of those being Sawdust and Tinsel.
Which is really unfortunate because we actually really enjoyed that film, and in retrospect, it's quite powerful.
That's true. But the studio that made it had a little bit of an issue with Bergman, and he wanted to repay them in some sense by making a hit for them. His attempt was Dreams. And you can sort of see that in some ways, Dreams is actually a somewhat different version of Sawdust and Tinsel. There's a lot of themes that work in that we saw previously.
I think you can definitely see that kind of translation of some of the things that he was looking at in Sawdust in Dreams, except that it's set in a much more contemporary setting that people can relate to.
Not quite as quirky as the circus.
Definitely not. And also in like contemporary time. Mm-hmm. But in terms of themes, I see that as well. Like we have characters that are facing this kind of chase of an idealized object of desire that's actually quite unattainable for them, and then suffering a really debilitating humiliation based on just failing to achieve that.
One of the most noteworthy things perhaps about Dreams is the return of two of Bergman's favorite actresses from this period, Eva Dahlbeck and Harriet Andersson. This is a standout role for both of them.
Yeah, I almost didn't recognize Harriet. I mean, she had lost so much weight for this role, which I guess makes sense because she's playing a model, and she's playing this younger, airheaded, frivolous type girl in the film who's very much obsessed with her own beauty and, kind of the career girl position that she's in as a model. And Eva Dahlbeck it's actually a different role for her, wouldn't you agree, this time?
Yeah, I think so. She's very straight-laced if you compare her to her previous roles. A lot of the comedic elements are really taken out here. She's very proper.
Yeah, and she's a little neurotic almost.
Yeah.
I mean, so she plays this, fashion production manager who oversees, Harriet Andersson's character Doris and putting her in these fashion shoots and booking the shoots and managing the talent, etc. And she's this, more mature woman, seasoned in her career, single, we're led to believe never married, no children. And she's in love with this man who she's had an affair with, who's a married man with kids who lives in another city. And the whole premise is kind of based around her booking a fashion shoot in the city that her lover lives in, taking Harriet with her, and then just obsessively trying to win him over from his wife.
Now, I think this gives us a great opportunity to talk about Eva because, in my opinion, she's one of the best actresses in Bergman's repertoire thus far, and from a lot of people's opinions, it seems she is one of the standout actresses, period, in terms of Bergman's films. This movie didn't give her a lot of opportunity to shine.
Yeah, I thought the character itself was fairly limited.
But at the same time, she's a fantastic actress. I think Dreams ranks low on the list of ones we've seen so far.
Her performance was solid, but it wasn't anything that... I don't know whether it was the way it was scripted or just the whole film together overall, but I just, like, I kept wanting more, you know, and I'm like, I can't even put my finger on what exactly it is that didn't come through, but it's noticeable that it didn't come through.
I'm not sure if it's actually her fault, though. I think it's kind of the material here. The movie doesn't have any real standout moments. A lot of Bergman's films, the classics at least, have that memorable shot or that memorable sequence. When I sit back and think about Dreams, I don't really remember anything in particular about it.
The scene that it made me think was the one between Harriet's character, Doris, the airheaded little model, and the sugar daddy that she manages to pick up in the film. And I found that this scene was very reminiscent of the scene in Sawdust and Tinsel in which Harriet Andersson was trying to seduce the theater actor. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of parody between the way that the scenes are shot, the condition that the female character is in. She's all giddy and rolling around on the floor with, you know, her body being revealed in certain positions, and the whole dynamic of it is very similar, and the conclusion is similar as well. She comes to a point where she thinks she's just about reached her ideal. In this case, it's attaining this sugar daddy who's going to give her all her hopes and dreams, and she goes as far as to say, you'll buy me a house, you'll fund my career. And then the man's daughter walks in and gives her a talking to. So she's absolutely embarrassed and humiliated by this kind of gold digger that she turns out to be.
Now, as we mentioned, Dreams was supposed to be that box office success. It wasn't. And part of that is because I think Bergman was revisiting themes, but he wasn't really into it as an artist. It wasn't something he was very passionate about. And I think when we look at the films now, it's pretty clear that Bergman succeeds when he has something invested in that project. So that leads us to our inevitable question, is this essential Bergman? And I feel like we have an answer.
I don't know, David. I'm really torn on this one.
Sarcasm, huh?
A little bit.
So you're going to go with no?
Yeah, I'm going to go with no.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's just not a standout film. It's really easy to forget, and even now, going back and remembering some of those sequences, they're starting to fade.
But maybe you disagree with us, so we'd love to hear your feedback. Feel free to comment either on this video or on our brand new Facebook page. Yes,
there's a forums there, so you can discuss all the details of this film and the other Ingmar Bergman movies. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time on Breaking Down Bergman.